As the world's time ambassador, I prepared you for what comes next. Not as a warning, but first as invitation, then activation. The game of war and renaissance has already gone live. 10 years ago, the promise was made to show how to become a player in the new world, removing the spectator and the follower and becoming a child of light. This is the new game, the new system, and now it begins. What happens next depends on your coherence, your alignment, your connection to awareness, consciousness, and presence. This is level 1 in the game. You already have the tools. You already have the controls. What you may not have realized is this: games do have consequences when they are played in reality. This one is not symbolic. This is the game you are already playing. Welcome to level 2. Today, we are going to journey to Future World and meet Domino Dominator. This is the origin myth of a beloved champion who proves that it only takes one precise move made at the right moment to reshape an entire universe without force, by the weight of its own inertia. Domino reveals how timing, setting the frame, and a single intentional move can trigger chain reactions that change everything. Under Elemental Hypertech, Day 2, time is not a single line. It behaves as 3 interacting fields. 1. Inertia. What is already moving and doesn't want to stop. Most people fight inertia. Domino aligns with it. 2. Momentum. What happens after movement begins? What accelerates once disturbed? Most people try to control momentum. Domino frames it. And the 3rd, sequence. The order that collapses probability into experience. The order that makes outcomes feel obvious in hindsight. Most people act without sequence. Domino waits for it to appear. From that lens, the past is readable with high coherence. The presence is steerable, choice sensitive. The future is conditional, probability, not fate. That means prediction is only possible up to the point where agency intervenes. Domino doesn't predict. Domino recognizes which futures are already leaning. That distinction matters. But the key, this is about knowing what you want, knowing how to arrive there, and accepting responsibility for what follows. The dominoes have already begun to fall. The only question left is, do you know what you want? This is the story of Domino Dominator, one of the most famous champions in Holodeck, the one who knocks. Welcome to the inner circle. In Future World, existence unfolds across 3 unified paths: war, Ren, and Continuum. Citizens and industries participate in one or more of these paths. Most champions choose a side. Domino does not. He is not a warrior. He is not a creator. Domino is a conductor. In the future, when Holodeck's championships become the foundation of citizenship, culture, religion, and science, most players chased career, speed, reputation, riches, spectacle, and victory. Domino did something different. He studied sequence. What the move released and set in motion. What caused it to begin the process of manifestation in reality. In Future World, when the world is fighting battles, Domino played pattern and progression. 20, 30 moves ahead, each one soft enough to seem harmless, each one heavy enough to matter. That moment where patience meets inertia and energy is applied only when timing demanded it. Even though there existed so many moves, so many options, he only made one move that set everything in motion. Future citizens call it the knock. Everything fell into place at exactly the right moment, under its own momentum and logical outcome. That is why he became trusted and unstoppable, because when he played, the world made sense again. There is a secret that Domino keeps. We all have them. Most citizens believe Domino is one champion. They are wrong. There are two. He has a twin sister. Every domino has two faces, and Domino is no exception. Domino Black, the one the world sees, calculated, calm, precise, the citizen's favorite champion, the visible sequence. Domino White, the one only legends and their inner circle know. Subtle, intuitive, untraceable, the hidden adjustment that guarantees the ending. She never initiates a move, she completes the final one. They never appear together, they never confirm the truth, and yet the games resolve too cleanly to be coincidence. I have heard of coincidences, I have just never seen one. Domino never removes the hypersuit, not because of fear, but because identity would collapse the magic. He is mysterious and trolls his competition. Domino plays with his food, not to harm it, but to remind it the game is still meant to be fun. That humor is protective and courageous. Citizens create fan masks. These are artifacts of belief and reward, sponsorship and allegiance to the players in holodeck. In Future World, this becomes a prosperous industry. Presence is a form of currency and possession. To wear a fan mask is to say, I am part of the sequence. I know how to knock a domino. The inner circle is not selected by rank, fame, or wealth. It is discovered. These are the players who realized the why behind the moves and who felt the chain reaction before it completed. But what is far more valuable is the ability to see who in the world doesn't know what they want. They don't have a goal, aim, or purpose. Domino's strength is he knows how to place them in the right position, the right sequence, at the right time to perform their role in the grand orchestra. Domino realized the truth that individuals without aim still shape outcomes. Placed correctly, they become instruments. Those that see the masterpiece, they enter into three inner circles. The knocks, the first ring. Knocks are the initiation of momentum. They don't know outcomes yet, they feel timing. Knocks know when to act and when not to. They place the first domino, often unknowingly. Domino calls them dangerous beginners, lovingly. Most damage is done by people who knock too hard. The scissors, the second ring. They understand removal and they fashion meaning. Scissors don't add force, they cut options away. They know what not to do, what to delay, what to sever so momentum can flow cleanly. This is controversial because it limits access, it limits information, it limits chaos. Domino's defense is simple. You don't hand a blade to someone who hasn't learned restraint. Then there's the conductors, the smallest ring. They understand orchestration and the whole system. They see multiple sequences at once, parallel outcomes, hidden dominoes. They rarely act directly. They nudge systems. Most citizens never know they exist. That's the point. Membership is rare, permanent, transformative. Once inside, you no longer play to win. You play to set the world in motion. There is the oath of Domino. I do not swear to victory. I swear to sequence. I realize that every move echoes and that nothing I do stands alone. I choose patience over impulse, timing over force, and clarity over applause. I will act only when my action matters and remain still when my stillness carries greater power. I accept that what I set in motion may outlive my name, outgrow my intent, and reshape worlds I may never see. I will not claim credit for outcomes, nor hide from consequence. I enter the inner circle, not to control the game, but to respect its order. From this moment forward, I play the long sequence. I move with timing, not noise. When the domino falls, I will know why. Now let's put the practice into the practical. The Hyperphysics domino principle is timeless because it is repeatable. 1. See further than the move. 2. Apply only necessary force. 3. Trust sequence over speed. 4. Let patience do the heavy lifting. 5. Exit before applause is required. Anyone can attempt this. Few can master it. That is why Domino is not a hero. Domino is a conductor. Operation Domino was never about battle. It is about what happens after activation. Domino does not push the universe forward or pull it back. He reveals that it is already moving. Momentum does the work. Inertia is karma's favor for your presence, consciousness, and awareness. Sequence provides direction. And now, without delay, the truth arrives with Level 2, Inertia, Momentum, and Sequence. Domino did not start it. He simply knew what comes next. The question he leaves you with is not about power, but choice. What kind of universe do you choose to participate in? Operation Domino reveals the turning point in the Genesis Future World Continuum, where no action is isolated and every choice creates ripples and rearranges the future. The battle begins, but so does Ren, and the greatest story of responsibility. 3 paths exist. War perpetuates with competition. Ren endures with friendship. Continuum advances with beauty. The first domino was knocked. Do you realize what comes next? Domino welcomes you to the inner circle, and he has something to say to the citizens. All right, before we begin, relax. If this were serious, it wouldn't work. That's the first thing citizens get wrong. They think power announces itself. It doesn't. Power clears its throat, smiles, and nudges the table. That is what I do. I set the frame. Things were already unstable long before I showed up. I just noticed. You see, the universe isn't waiting for force. It's waiting for permission, not aggression. Those that have been on this journey with me will remember this in practice. Most people push. Some people pull. Very few people ask, what's already leaning? That's my thing. I don't make moves to win. I make moves to finish what has already begun. One touch. That's it. Not because I'm careful, because I'm lazy. Why wrestle with reality when it's already falling in the right direction? Citizens call this the domino effect, like it's chaos. It's not. It's manners. It's easy. You don't slam a door when a breeze will close it for you. Also, yes, I know what my badge says. Dominator, not domino. There is a secret there. It's vintage, hand-stitched, antique. I keep it because it makes very serious citizens uncomfortable, and serious things, they crack easily. Here's the part nobody tells you. Every choice has a visible side and a hidden one. Wisdom is knowing you have already played both. Nothing begins when you act. It begins when it needs to remove corruption or the dishonest. That's inertia. Momentum is what happens after people panic. Sequence is what happens before they notice. I don't predict the future. I walk it quietly and check which doors are already unlocked. That's why I'm never afraid of consequences. Fear comes from surprises. Surprises only happen when you weren't paying attention, when you are not in alignment with environment, presence, awareness, or your role in the consciousness field. Oh, and by the way, you thought I was one person? That's cute. Every domino has two sides. When you play one, you play both. I handle the obvious move. She handles the one you didn't know you had. My badge says Dominator. Her badge says Domino. Same style. Antique, vintage, and stitched. Different face. I open games and set the stage. She guarantees endings. That line between the dot? That's not separation. That's coordination. People ask, why not every citizen knows this, that there are two of you, not one? Simple. Watching doesn't teach sequence. Playing does. Some knock, some cut paths clean. A very small few conduct the whole room without ever touching an instrument. Is information really hidden, or is it earned by those who seek it? Information is only exclusive to those who know the right place and the right reason to use it. Give people truth too early and they weaponize it. Give it too late and they worship it. I prefer right on time. Now, here's why I'm talking to you. Something already moved. You felt it before you could explain it. That's resonance and coherence doing its job. One domino fell, not loudly, not violently, but clean. And once that happens, the rest is just physics with manners. You don't need to know every move. You only need to place one correctly. Light touch, kind intent, zero rush. That's how impossible things move without breaking anything. So don't ask me what happens next. Ask yourself, what are you going to do next, knowing you ripple into eternity? You heard from the black domino. Now the white domino addresses the inner circle. You already know him. That's why you're here. You felt the moves land before you could name them. You noticed outcomes lining up a little too cleanly. You stop calling it luck. Good. Now listen carefully, because this is the only time I explain myself. I am not the second move. I am the consequence. He places the piece. I decide where it falls. Cause is noisy. Effect is quiet. Cause asks, can this be done? Effect asks, should it be finished? That's the difference between hands and feet. One reaches, one takes you somewhere. Together, we walk. You were taught that knowledge should be shared equally, that everything should be visible, that mystery is manipulation. That belief has broken more worlds than war. You don't give timing to someone who hasn't learned patience. You don't give gifts to someone who is ungrateful. You don't give sequence to someone who hasn't learned restraint. And you don't give power to someone who hasn't decided where they are willing to arrive. That is not secrecy. That is care. Most people want outcomes. Very few want responsibility for them. That's why they stop at him. He shows them how to begin. I make sure beginnings don't become accidents. You found me because you stayed with the chain reaction long enough to ask the only question that matters. What happens after this? Here is my lesson. It is simple. It is unforgiving. You better know what you want, and you better know how to get there, because the universe will help you finish anything you truly commit to, and if not, you'll have to live with it. The living universe will give you challenge, chaos, pain, and suffering if that is your focus. I am no stranger to these dangerous realms. I don't stop dominoes. I don't speed them up. I align endings with intent. When people say things worked out, what they mean is someone like me was paying attention. You will not see me often. You are not meant to. If I'm visible, something went wrong upstream. My work is invisible because it is complete. Remember this, he makes the move possible. I make it permanent. He is the question. I am the answer you must live inside. We are not two. We are decision with direction. And now that you know I exist, You are accountable for what you set in motion. Welcome to the inner circle. Choose carefully. Now, Domino and Dominator enter the Sandman to join the crew, because the living universe has crossed from preparation into consequence. Some push the door, some kick it wide, some shout their name with wounded pride. But Domino, he tilts the frame, smiles softly, and nothing's the same. He doesn't rush, he doesn't plead. He plants one thought and lets it lead. A single knock, a patient grin. The rest falls down from what's within. They call it luck, they call it fate, they call it chance when it's too late. But Domino just calls it time and laughs when clocks forget their rhyme. One side bright, one side unseen. The line between is where they lean. Play one piece, you play them both. Cause and consequence take oath. He joins the Sandman not to fight, but to tuck the world in just right. No shattered dreams, no broken will, just quiet moves that ripple still. So if you feel the floor give way, don't panic, it was leaning anyway. And if you ask who started this, Domino bows and blows a kiss. Most stories end with answers. This one ends with responsibility. Domino was never here to be followed. He was here to be noticed. The inner circle is not a place you enter. It is a moment you recognize, when you realize the world didn't change suddenly. It was changing in sequence. One move, placed with care, set by someone who knew what they wanted and was willing to live inside the outcome. That's the truth behind the mask. That's the secret behind the game. You don't dominate reality by force. You dominate it by realizing when it's already ready. The dominoes are falling now, not because someone pushed them, but because they were always leaning. If you felt this, you're not late. You're exactly where the sequence brings you. So don't ask who Domino is. Ask yourself what you're willing to set in motion, because the moment you choose with clarity, the universe does the rest. In transmission, Level 2, Inertia, Momentum, Sequence active.